we're gonna form a super duper fucking group. We need them tough, morally flexible, and young enough to carry their own franchise for 10 to 12 years.
Hello, welcome to Cynic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host Brian, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host Thomas. Hello. This week, we're gearing up for Deadpool and Wolverine, like we did last week, I guess, by revisiting the Deadpool films, starting at the very best place to start, 2016's Deadpool, then into 2018's Deadpool 2, and a somewhat related animated feature we're throwing in as a bonus, 2009's Hulk Vs Wolverine, which was half of the Hulk vs. twin movie feature, I guess. Yeah, so kicking straight into Deadpool 2016.
We can fight this.
You're right. The cancer's only my liver, lungs, prostate, and brain. All things I can live without.
What if I told you we can make you better? You're a fighter. We can give you abilities most men only dream of. Make you a superhero.
You just promise you'll do right by me, so I can do right by someone else.
Directed by Tim Miller, and on a budget of $58 million, and grossed $782,837,376. It was written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, and stars Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson and Deadpool, Marina Baccarin as Vanessa, TJ Miller as Weasel, Ed Skrein as Ajax, and Gina Carano as Angel Dust. The synopsis from IMDb is a wisecracking mercenary gets experimented on and becomes immortal, yet hideously scarred, and sets out to track down the man who ruined his looks. Yep, I'm not sure if I saw this at midnight when it was released. Do you remember? No, I don't remember. Does this have anything to do with the film? No, nothing whatsoever. I've just been sat here racking my brain. Did I see this at a midnight screening? Because I would have if it had one, and I normally remember if I saw it at midnight, and I don't. So I'm assuming our local didn't have a midnight screening. But I think this is a great blend of action comedy. Yeah, and I'm not 100%, and I haven't checked it. Maybe I should have. But I think this is Tim Miller's first live action feature. I believe so. He normally did video cutscenes and so on. Like his famous one is the Batman Deathstroke cutscene fight that was used as a teaser trailer for Arkham Origins, would it be? Yeah. And that was really good. And he's not credited on IMDb, which is a shame, but he's done a lot of the pickup shots and everything for the upcoming Borderlands film. Yeah. From Eli Roth. Yeah. And I think that's quite a decent choice because Borderlands and Deadpool have that overlap in how they blend pop culture comedy into contemporary action, I guess. Yeah. Don't know if you mentioned he did Terminator Dark Fate. Some things are best left unsaid. He was the creator of Love, Death and Robots. Oh, is he the creator of that show? Yeah. Right. And David Fincher does an episode of that, doesn't he? I think he does, yeah. Biggest names in there and then some new up-and-coming names. Yeah. There's some really good episodes. The writers for Zombieland Life and Deadpool 2. And I knew they did that and didn't write them down and then forgot it was them. Yeah. But I can't read my writing, so I'm going to have to check this up. Oh, God. It wouldn't be me if I could read my writing. But no, I was going to say that the cinematographer for this, but this is where I want to make sure I get his name right because I can't read my writing. He's Ken Tseng. Right. And he did a really good film. I think it was just last year now. He was the cinematographer on They Clone Tyrone. All right. Which was a great film starring John Boyega. Yes. That was a really good blaxploitation, sci-fi, noir sort of thing. I think you had it in your top of the year or runners-up. Runners-up. Top 10. Yeah. I can tell you. No, you definitely did. I already mentioned it. But it's definitely a film worth checking out. And I think it was a Netflix film, so it's worth getting that Netflix subscription. Yeah. The list of 10 things were Netflix subscription. In the UK, at least. There's a lot to like about this Deadpool film anyway, to go back to Deadpool now, which we probably should. Yeah, that's what we're discussing. Usually it's me that gets us back. I'm trying. I think this has a phenomenal opening. Yeah, it starts and you're in the action straight away pretty much. And the fact Deadpool's so self-aware and fourth wall breaking allows for this to work
in a non-linear fashion as he's retelling the story to the audience.
Yeah.
So it goes back and forth through his origins and then back into the action, and I think that's really well done. I think there's great use of music in this with some great tunes. And the slow-mo is really well done in the opening as well.
Yeah.
Because there's that whole like slow-mo montage through a fight scene in there with the...
Yeah.
And I think that's really well done.
Yeah.
Plus there's some good play with how the names go up. I haven't made any notes, but it's like written by that guy sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like the opening credits aren't even taking themselves serious, which I think is really good.
If I'm right, weren't they just what they've done as like substitute credit? They weren't the original.
Well, they were just jokey things put in.
Yeah.
And then I thought it's funny.
And then they were like, let's leave the opening credits like that. That's great.
That honestly sounds like something that I would do.
Carried on to the second one as well, so that's cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned music. Tom Holkenberg, also known as Junkie XL, he does the score.
Okay, right.
I quite like some of his work. Alita Battle Angel was good.
Yeah.
The music. Yeah, I like his score on that.
I think he did the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Yeah, he did Batman v Superman, so
Yeah.
I'd say he did Justice League.
That's got some good pieces in it too.
Yeah.
I'm not always one to notice score though.
No, I don't know.
If it's abysmal, I'll instantly know. And if it's really good, I may know. I sometimes feel a really good score can just disappear into the film and just you're not quite aware of it, but it's elevating what's visually there.
I only looked up the score to this one because I was actually checking the second one and then thought, who's the first one? And I saw it was him, and I thought most people want to, like, he's a well-known guy, so
Yeah.
I thought it's worth mentioning that it's him on this as well. But I don't really remember the score for it.
Compared to what we got of Deadpool in X-Men Origins that we discussed last week, we get the proper costume here. And I think it's one of my favourite comic book movie costumes.
It's comic accurate.
Yeah.
It looks great, but at the same time, it just always looks fake.
I don't particularly think it does. I think it does on close-ups where they clearly animate the eyes on his mask and stuff.
Yeah.
When you look at the rest of the costume, it looks...
To me, in my head, it always just looks like watching a video game character run around. He never looks like a real person moving, which kind of works for the film.
Because apparently the costume was to have a muscle layer underneath, but it had to be removed because Ryan Reynolds himself was apparently muscular. That's the trivia anyway on IMDb, but I can't help but feel that's something he would say as a joke in an interview anyway.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate the amount of work he does in the mask in these films.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's scenes of him without the mask, but for the most part, he's in the mask in the action, and a lot of the talking is when he's in the mask and so on, apart from the flashback scenes in the first one. And that itself is quite hard because you can't be as expressive as you are.
Yeah.
Luckily, Ryan Reynolds knows how to use the tone of his voice, I think, to accentuate comedy and seriousness quite well. And
which this doesn't really do much serious.
No, but I think when the line has to be, doing it quite well. Yeah, that's the other thing. To say he's diagnosed with cancer, it doesn't play it particularly serious at all.
No, there's many
or
jokes
as serious as it could.
Him and Weasel, played by T.J. Miller, just ripping off each other on.
Yeah, they bounce off each other so well. It's a shame we're not getting Weasel in the third one.
Yeah, in this one, they're like my favourite parts.
Especially when they're on about what he looks like.
Yeah.
After his mutation kicks in.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing itself. They find out he's got cancer and they're like, oh, we can cure you of cancer.
Yeah.
And then he has to go on to all these like weird experiments of where they're pushing him to near death to try and make the X gene kick in.
Yeah.
Which I find really weird because I'm pretty sure not everyone would have the X gene.
No, they wouldn't.
And then they don't even know what his powers are going to be, and they've told him they'll cure his cancer. Luckily, he gets majorly regenerative healing ability that surpasses Wolverine's for the most part, I believe.
Yeah.
For the comics, because Deadpool can grow limbs back or can grow himself from a limb, I think.
Yeah.
Which you do see a bit of the limb growing thing in this. Is it this one with the hand? Or is it this one with the legs? There's a very similar joke in both.
The
legs is the second one.
Yeah, and the legs is...
So this is the one where he's got like a little baby hand.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that it was going to cure him of his cancer. That's the point. So
no.
He got quite lucky.
Yeah. As you said, not everyone will have that X gene. I think some people have like a dormant X gene, but even then, not everyone has that because they have to be a mutant in the first place.
Isn't this kind of his origin from the comics as well, though, anyway?
Yeah. In the comics, though, he's a mutate as well, which means he's actually... I think they say he is in this.
He would be a mutate in this because it'd be like Spider-Man. He's not a true mutant through evolution.
Yeah, he's someone given powers.
Yeah.
In which in the comics, I think he's given like an X gene.
Right. But in this, they try and awaken a dormant X gene or something. Because I'm pretty sure they don't mention it.
About him putting one in.
Yeah.
Unreliable narrator anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows what actually happened.
You can kind of also say that about Ryan Reynolds' story of the leaked test footage.
Yeah.
That came about, which is kind of in the film, but it's not all CGI now.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't all CGI modelled for the test footage.
Yeah.
But Reynolds has been pushing for Deadpool for a long time.
Yeah.
Because if I'm right, I think it was Avi Arad, I'm not 100% on that, from Blade Trinity. When he was working on Blade Trinity, told him he'd be a perfect Deadpool.
Yeah.
It was around that time where somebody told him behind the scenes that he'd be great to be Deadpool. And
I think you said it was Goya on the last one.
it probably was Goya then. I'm just trying to think of who was working on Blade.
Yeah. But I know it was from Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And then
But he was a last-minute call on Origins Wolverine, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Lucky they got him. And then obviously he'd been pushing to get this made since Origins, like really pushing.
Yeah. And wanting the comic book accurate.
Yeah, he always wants the costume. And I'm glad he pushed that, 'cause the costume's great. In the comics, I mean, the costume itself is a great design. It's one of them like Spider-Man. It's kind of timeless, I feel.
And Deadpool works well, ignoring what had come before anyway.
Yeah.
To the character.
The X-Men canon of the films is very good at ignoring what came before it anyway.
Exactly.
I don't think there's one X-Men film that truly keeps canon to the previous.
No, we mentioned that last week as well, Wolverine, because none of them seem like they're in the same.
Well, and in this, there's even a joke. It's like, oh, well, we'll take you to see the Professor. Or is that the second one? That's the second one, isn't it? And he's like,
yeah.
Stewart or McAvoy?
Yeah.
Like, he's actually aware that there's a change in the Professor.
Yeah. I think it's a comic book saying, there is a comic book where he says, has anyone noticed how Professor Xavier looks like Captain Picard?
Oh, brilliant.
Because they're both Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. But in the comics, there's a line, though, that says he looks like a cross between Ryan Reynolds and
Sharpay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mentioned that last week as well.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. We just repeated ourselves.
We're just recycling our own conversations.
I also like what they did with the villain in this, Ed Skrein's character.
Yeah.
I don't know particularly if he's from the comics or not, or how different he is from the comics.
He's from the comics. He has the same abilities as he does in the comics. I don't really know much about him from the comics. He's not really a major player. So.
Same with Gina Carano. I liked her as Angel Dust.
Yeah, she's similar powers to the comics. I can't think how they're different, but it's super strength all the same.
Because there's some good ongoing jokes from Deadpool to both of those that repeat that I think is a good ongoing gag throughout the film.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoy how this is structured through flashback.
Yeah.
It really keeps the pacing going in a good way. Man of Steel does that sort of non-linear storytelling with origin bits to back to present day.
Yeah.
But I feel it drags the film down and slows its pacing, that there's no real weight from watching it.
Yeah.
I don't feel it's adding any weight in terms of drama.
No.
It feels like it's just there to stop the action going on.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. But here I think it works for the better of the movie and its tone.
Yeah. Different kind of story though, I guess.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying as an origin movie where we're breaking it up with the present and so on and flashing back.
Yeah.
This works a lot better for what it's doing than what Man of Steel was trying to do.
Man of Steel, if I'm right, it played to a point and then it was flashback, and the flashback is supposed to be kind of relevant to what he's dealing with in present day, but it never really felt as related.
No,
as it should have.
And they don't feel they're organic in place either. It feels like they're just dropped in and then
and you couldn't have all them flashback scenes at the beginning.
No.
That's just messy as well. So, but yeah, this is really well structured film, really well directed film.
Yeah.
So.
I really like a lot of the action scenes in this as well. The attention to detail, like just when Deadpool's on is it a highway or a freeway? He does a bullet count.
Yeah.
And we're counting along with him. The numbers are coming up on the bullets. And I think that's a great scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creative. That'll teach kids to count a lot better than any episode of Sesame Street. I'm telling you now.
Yeah. There's a lot of creative visuals and even just written gags as well.
Yeah.
Like dialogue. There's a lot of great stuff in it.
I particularly like where he's trying to find his costume. You know, he's trying to find an identity of himself.
Yeah, there's
the scene, and I think it's referenced to Phantom X because he's dressed very similar to a scene of Phantom X where it's all white, the gun holsters.
Yeah, he's got an all-white costume. That probably is a reference to Phantom X. Phantom X in comic books, he's also a weapon project similar to Deadpool Wolverine. I think he's a weapon. Oh god, there's so many weapon projects in Marvel. I know there's a Weapon 16.
Well, it would be XVI, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but they get to a point, and
I guess there's also a point with some people where they can't count once Roman numerals get to a certain point.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is this? It looks like somebody's left the vowels out of these words.
Yeah.
This is weapon xylophone. But yeah, there's a lot to really like in this film in terms of how it uses the humour and the action. It blends so well together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rewatchability in this as well. I mean, it's been a while since I rewatched it, but when it came out, I think I saw it in cinemas twice.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Then I've watched it a few times at home since.
Yeah. I know you watched it more than I have.
But I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan anyway.
Yeah, I'm a big X-Men fan.
I know, but Deadpool's not really X-Men, is he?
No. Deadpool his own thing.
He lives in his own space.
So I've heard from somewhere.
Yeah.
I like Deadpool as a character. I do like the self-aware. I think sometimes it goes a bit too far for me.
I think the movie's got the tone right, but I would also have liked it maybe a little darker and serious in parts.
Yeah, that's just me. That's why I like from films.
Yeah.
Characters in general.
But if this was to have gone a bit dark and serious in parts, I think there'd be like a tonal whiplash to some audience members. They'd be like, what?
Yeah.
This film doesn't know what it is. It's like, but it's Deadpool.
To steal a line from Deadpool 2, it'd be are you from the DC universe?
Oh,
People would be wondering.
Yeah, he's so dark and broody or something.
Yeah.
Is that all you want to say for Deadpool?
I would say, yeah, but we're moving on to Deadpool 2 after this, so it's not all I can say about Deadpool.
Okay. I'll move on to Deadpool 2.
What in the f***sicle is this?
My name's Cable. I'm here for the kid.
What? The kid?
Move or die.
Deadpool 2 had a budget of 110 million, so it's almost double what the first had, and it grossed 785,896,640 US dollars. That's its worldwide gross.
Yeah.
This time directed by David Leitch. The writers are Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick from the first one, but Ryan Reynolds is now credited. I'm assuming it's from the amount of improv and maybe story notes that he wanted to do. And the cinematographer this time is Jonathan Seller, I'm not sure how to say his surname. But he's the cinematographer of Bullet Train, Fall Guy, Atomic Blonde, and a few other David Leitch projects.
Right.
Which I thought was worth noting. We have, in fact, I'll do the synopsis first. This time, as IMDb says, it's a foul-mouthed mutant mercenary, Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, assembles a team of fellow mutant rogues to protect a young boy with abilities from the brutal, time-traveling cyborg Cable. We have Ryan Reynolds returning as Deadpool, Josh Brolin plays Cable, Marina Baccarin reprises Vanessa. Then we have, I think it's Julian Deniso as Fire Fist.
Dennison.
But Dennison. I did not finish writing his surname then.
Or I've added an N.
I'm just going to have to check this now. It is Dennison.
Yeah.
It's much easier to say.
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz as Domino. TJ Miller reprises his role as Weasel. Leslie Uggams reprises as Blind Al. We never discussed her in the first film.
We didn't discuss. She's in a lot of the support.
Yeah, same with Karen Sonny as Depinda. He's reprising.
Yeah.
Brian Hildebrand as Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She's back. She was in the first one. We didn't discuss her either. Then we've got Stefan Kupacik, if I'm saying his surname properly, as the voice of Colossus again. And then I've just made a list of the more cameo sort of parts, if you want me to go through them.
That's up to you.
Okay, well, we've got Jack Kesey as Black Tom, as in Black Tom Cassidy, who's an X-Men character.
Yeah.
Eddie Marson is the headmaster of where Russell's from. Shioli Kusana as Yukio,
who was also in the Wolverine. Well, a different version of Yukio was in the Wolverine with different powers in the comic books. No powers.
Rob Delaney as Peter. He's a great role in this, I think. I don't think he's a comic character at all.
No.
Louis Tan as Shatterstar. Bill Skarsgård as Zeitgeist. And Terry Crews as Bedlam. And one that I never made note of, which is really worth watching the movie for, is Brad Pitt as Vanisher.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a slopper. But the reason I wanted to say about Jack Kesey as Black Tom is a trailer got released for the new Hellboy movie, Hellboy the Crooked Man, just last week, before recording this episode anyway.
Yeah.
And he's the new Hellboy, and I think that film looks pretty decent. People say it looks like a low-budget horror movie, or it looks like a well-made fan film, but from what I know of the comic, it looks to have the tone quite right, I think.
Comics don't take themselves too seriously.
No.
So you can have
which is what the last adaptation did quite well, if I'm right.
Yeah, I quite liked it. I think we've mentioned the upcoming Hellboy movie before, and I can't think who's working on it.
It's Marshall. No, it's not. He did the last one.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know I've mentioned someone who worked on them before. It'll be in my notepad somewhere. So I might just have a look. It was a while ago, so how far back I have to go just to find out who the hell that was. So I remember having to mention it because I'm looking forward to it.
The director's Brian Taylor of Crank.
Right.
Crank 2.
Yeah.
And Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah.
Gamer, Pathology.
Jason Trost.
Yeah.
Because he's in All Sick Christmas Die.
Yeah.
He has a cameo.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you.
But no, some of these side characters, they're just glorified cameos with a bigger part that have a payoff for a gag, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, I think this movie nails its opening credits. This time they've gone with a James Bond sort of style where Deadpool's doing all the parts that are normally traditionally done by the women in the Bond openings. We've got the funny credits again about the people, because this time the director is credited as one of the guys that killed John Wick's dog.
Yeah.
Because obviously David Leitch did John Wick.
Yeah.
And also talking about David Leitch, it's something I should have mentioned on last week's episode when we were talking about the Wolverine. I said that it was very John Wick-like.
Yeah.
Well, David Leitch was the second unit director on the Wolverine.
Yeah. And that explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yes. So I thought that's also worth mentioning. So it's not his first time really working on a superhero movie.
It's not even his first time working on a sequel to a weapon project.
And it's not his... Oh, this would be maybe his first time working with Ryan Reynolds. Because Ryan Reynolds had a little cameo part in Bullet Train.
Yeah, she's definitely after that.
Yeah. Bullet Train's worth watching.
Oh, yeah. It's a great film. If you like Deadpool, I bet you'd probably enjoy them.
It's kind of like a Guy Ritchie, John Wick sort of movie.
Yeah.
If you were to merge the two together, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a good blend of comedy action.
Yeah.
Not quite the same as these.
No, but I do think if you enjoy these, you'd probably enjoy.
And Brad Pitt's in it.
Yeah.
But there's some good stuff in this. You particularly like Gag About Cable, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I've been bringing this up since 2018 now, where it's just comic book Cable's 6'4" and massive sort of thing.
Yeah.
You're just like 5'10".
Josh Brolin plays a great Cable.
He's my favourite thing about this film. I enjoy this film, but he is my favourite thing in this film. It could be because I really like Cable, or it just might be because he plays it really well. Or it's both. It's most likely both.
Yeah. You say no, but I think it's loosely based on the comic line Messiah
War.
Yes. I think there's a loose tie into that sort of story with what the synopsis is for this film. I think there's elements of that taken in for it. I feel like you disagreed with me when I mentioned it off there.
It's not Messiah War, though. It's more, I guess it is a slightly more Messiah complex, more than War. They're part of the same trilogy of storylines in X-Men.
X-Force particularly, isn't it?
Messiah War was X-Force and Cable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can kind of see where there's elements of that.
I mean, it's clearly merged with other things as well, but
yeah,
I'm saying that's a loose thing for the main plot line.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
Oh, I never mentioned Eddie Marsan was the headmaster of this orphanage school thing.
Yeah,
which I think was referred to in the film as the Essex School or something.
Yeah,
which I think was a reference to Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, Mr. Sinister also loves cloning mutants and has a big rivalry with Cable. And to be fair, I think he has ties to the weapon project.
Well, he was also supposed to have appeared in a future New Mutants movie.
Yeah,
that have happened.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in...
Maybe we should have done New Mutants with these.
He was supposed to be in post-credit scene for New Mutants, and that got scrapped because they decided that was the last one in that line.
Well, Disney also bought Fox around that time, I think.
Yeah, everything got dropped. That's what's took so long for Deadpool 3 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because one of the plans for Deadpool 3, Reynolds said it was just a road movie. Yeah. Him and Dopinder in their taxi across maybe smaller budget than the rest. Which I think is quite an intriguing thing. And I can imagine it being quite well.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't attempted doing it as a short film or something.
Or just a series. Deadpool and Dopinder visit here, visit there, like loads of famous sites across America. Grand Canyon.
Yeah, they did
and so on.
Little short films for Thor Ragnarok and stuff. Yeah. So I don't see why Deadpool.
Well, there was a couple of Deadpool shorts, I guess, for advertisements for the Deadpool, because they didn't all have traditional trailers.
I honestly can't remember.
There was one that was a little more Princess Bride sort of thing, I think. I'm not 100%. But I'm sure there was some more little teasers around that weren't actually trailers per se, but just little tiny shorts of Deadpool.
Yeah.
Kind of like now with the Mint Mobile thing, I think. Just that sort of thing.
Right.
Because Mint Mobile's Ryan Reynolds' mobile company.
Yeah.
He's got huge jacked fan to be Wolverine in that, to do some stuff.
Right.
I remember there being an outcry at the time for Zazie Beetz being Domino, because Domino should be white with the black eye patch, and obviously Zazie Beetz is off colour, and so they changed the patch to white.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bother me, and I think she's great as Domino, to be honest. I really liked her character in the film, and it doesn't look like she's back for the third one, which I'm a little good about.
Yeah.
Well, she's got one of my favourite action scenes where they're on that cargo thing in the convoy, and they're going through the city. Sadly, one of the stunt doubles that was doing the bike stunt for Domino passed away during the making of the film.
Right.
And I particularly like that action scene in the film.
Right.
We said this while we were watching it about Cable as well. He's not the true comic Cable that we've got now.
No.
It's back to basics Cable, and it feels more like it's the vision that
Rob Liefeld originally had.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the cybernetic implants, the robot arm,
No ties to Scott Summers, it seems, either.
No, I don't think you get his real name or anything like that either. They say he has a daughter in the future, which is more of an adoptive daughter in the comic books now, which is Hope Summers, who is based around that whole Messiah complex and stuff that we mentioned earlier. But in the comic books, originally, he did have a son.
Okay.
I kind of hope Deadpool and Wolverine as Cable's clone, Strife.
Okay, yeah.
I just think that would be funny.
Also played by Josh Brolin, I guess.
Yeah.
I would love to see both Cable and Domino back in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm not too bothered if we don't. But the way Deadpool 2 ends, it feels like they should be there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm hoping for at least a scene or something to put close to that narrative, I guess.
It looks like they've done like an odd reboot.
Well, it looks like they're actually merging it with the MCU because there's rumours anyway that that's the Bureau thing that Loki works for in his series. So I might have to get caught up on Loki before Deadpool 2, I don't know. But it should stand on its own, I think.
I hope so. Otherwise, I'm going to be lost.
But I think this is one of them sequels where I can imagine some people saying it's better than one. I think it's about the same.
I might be one of the people that say it's better, but I do really like Cable.
Yeah.
But I do actually think they're about the same. So I think Cable's the thing that brings
in terms
this
of
one
quality and like the jokes and the action, I think this is just as good as the first.
Yeah.
It definitely feels a little bigger in parts.
Well, yeah, you've got X-Force now.
Yeah.
Great unit, I think. Terry Crews as Bedlam is fantastic casting. I just want to say that.
Didn't you say he should have played the other one?
Yeah, there's two brothers in Age of Apocalypse. I think they had the Bedlam brothers, actually. I think Bedlam's their surname. Oh, God, I can't remember now. But, yeah, the two brothers anyway in Age of Apocalypse. And Terry Crews, I remember reading it and thinking, Terry Crews would be great as this one. And they do the movie and they get him in. It's just like, well, that one doesn't exist in regular continuity of comic books. So I guess it's good that he gets to play at least one of them. Yeah, I really liked him.
But yeah, it's weird though that they bring Yukio, yeah, into this when she was just not long before in the Wolverine, was it?
Yeah, 5 years, and they just decide they're putting her in it. But again,
like you said, they changed her power.
Yeah, and then again, you kind of get the similar thing that we mentioned, I think, last week, where you have Caliban.
Yes,
you had
he was in Logan and he was in
Apocalypse just the year before.
And two completely different takes of the character, it seems.
Different completely. So it's just really weird. I think it's just Deadpool having a bit of fun with this one.
Yeah, I also feel part of it is also Fox have no idea who these surrounding characters are.
Fox don't have a clue. I mean, they didn't have a clue who they even owned. They suggested having X-23 in Logan and just like, we've never even heard of this character.
Yeah.
There's a few other things like that, like the Big Hero 6 that Disney went and did.
This is the animated movie Big Hero 6.
Yeah, and they're a mutant team in the comic book. Sunfire, Silver Samurai, quite a few X-Men related characters and mutants in general. And Disney went, let's just change them. It's tech-based, not mutants.
Yeah.
Fox were just like...
I don't even think Fox knew.
No, Fox, I assume, were just like, oh, they've got another weird Marvel project to go.
I'm not even sure if they would know it was Marvel, because it was an animated movie, so it's not like branded as part of the MCU or anything. It was just this
a lot
weird
of people didn't really know what it was. I don't really know. Apparently it's good. I haven't seen it.
I'm not going to. I have no interest, because you told me what the comics were, and I was like, that sounds great. Yeah. And I look at this movie, and it's just like a giant inflatable robot or something. It's just like, that looks bad.
If I'm right, that's supposed to be a monstrous looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah. No. They could have done anything to have made that movie. You know, they could have given it its own name or something. They're like, oh, this is just a weird take on the Big Hero 6 from the comics.
Yeah.
But we changed them so much so no one at Fox will recognise who they are. Because obviously if they'd have had Silver Samurai, everybody would be like, whoa, we just put him in a Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
Although I think it came out before the Wolverine, I'm not sure now.
I don't know. I can't think when it came out.
But it seemed like such a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hype around it, and then I've not heard anything about it since, because there were talks of sequels and stuff, so I don't know what happened.
They did an animated series, I think. Yeah, I'm sure they did an animated series. Probably lasted one season. They had so much hope in it.
But to talk about characters in Deadpool 2, like I said, we've got Dopinder back. I think he was made up for the film.
I believe so.
But audiences just took to him, and it clearly worked well with what Reynolds was doing as Deadpool, I think, to bring him back, and it was well worth it.
Yeah.
He's got his own little art going on in the background, I guess, doesn't he? Because you find out, am I right? You find out in the second one what was the resolve from the gag in the first one about the guy in his boot.
I think so.
Which I think is quite funny. So he's basically Deadpool's chauffeur, essentially. Because he just seems to like him. And then Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She got a new X-suit for the second one, and I kind of prefer it.
Yeah.
I don't remember noticing it was a new suit the first time. This is the first time I seem to have noticed that. But you said they've changed her powers from the comics.
Oh, yeah. In the comic book, she's a telepath.
Right. So why is she called Negasonic Teenage Warhead?
named after
a song. It's a
It's a
song, isn't it?
Yeah. Right as a Deadpool, I really like the name. But
Yeah.
In
One of the characters in one of the original scripts, it was going to be Cannonball, or someone like that. So, which makes sense when you see what her power is.
Similar powers to Cannonball in there. I think they've now brought her into comic book canon with them powers now.
Right. Blind Al, I think she's a great character of this.
Yeah.
I was going to say she's from...
There's a lot of abuse in the comic books.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's not here.
No, in this, it's more like him playing pranks on her and just being a little fly, like Ryan Reynolds sort of sarcastic comments to her.
Yeah.
But I think if the movies were a more dark, serious tone, like some Deadpool comics can be in what the stories is, I think the abuse would be there as well.
Probably.
But obviously, you're making a movie about a hero, and you don't want them to have any negatives.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoy this, and I liked the resolve at the end. Oh, Juggernaut's in this. I never mentioned that. Because Reynolds apparently plays Juggernaut as well, but some voice distorted work, I think, to deepen it and make it more...
Similar to Colossus, they wanted that more comic book accurate from...
And it looks great.
Yeah. I say last stand appearance.
Yeah.
They didn't want that again.
Yeah.
So
and the Juggernaut bit.
Yeah, Colossus and Juggernaut get a redo.
Yeah.
In more comic. I say Colossus gets a more comic. He is kind of more comic accurate. He's Russian.
Yeah.
He's big, but
he's metal all the time.
Yeah, he's metal all the time, and that doesn't make any sense to me. It actually bothers me while watching the film, the fact he's just metal all the time.
I know what you mean.
I get it's not a serious film, and it's funny the fact he is metal all the time. But in my head, I'm just thinking, why is he metal all the time?
There's also like a weird joke with him where he's like this perfect moral compass. He's this like guy that has to follow this book like some Boy Scout. But I don't feel he's like that in the comics. I'm not saying he's not a do-gooder, but I feel they really up it in this to be a joke.
Yeah.
Well, they do, but...
I think it's because that's what he was kind of always known as, the guy who always did the right thing.
Yeah.
They kind of try and put him on dark paths here and there, but everyone kind of thinks that's not Colossus.
But like you said about the first one, as Deadpool's a false narrator, it allows these characters, I think, to be exaggerated from what they would be if they were in another movie.
Yeah.
I think I can let that slide.
Yeah.
Plus, these Deadpool things, they seem to be their own thing. They're not truly connected to the other X-Men films.
And again, due to how they are, I don't feel they have to be completely comic accurate.
Yeah. Although I say that, we actually see the X-Men briefly in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
The scene was shot while doing...
I think it was Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, that's the one.
Because Apocalypse had been out already.
Yeah.
And God, that was awful.
And it is just such a small part. Like,
yeah.
It almost feels like, you know, in the old films where they'd have some footage and then green screen it into the... to create the two layers to look like they're together.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that to me, like a new version of that. It didn't feel like Reynolds was even on the other side of the door.
No.
When it gets opened or shut or whatever happened with it. I can't remember now. Such a weird scene.
I did mention I was looking up the guy who did the music on this, and that's what brought me to the previous.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's Tyler Bates.
It's your favourite guy?
One of my favourite, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
You did Atomic Blonde.
Yeah, Atomic Blonde, which was also David Leitch.
Yeah. And John Wick, and again, David Leitch. And the Punisher series, which I just love.
I'm quite looking forward to Punisher appearing in the new Daredevil series.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen, I saw it this morning, just before recording. Apparently they're filming season 2 of Daredevil Reborn in November.
Right.
So hopefully Reborn season 1's good.
Yeah, I hope so.
There's promise there.
I love Daredevil. Every season of Daredevil, I think it's great.
Anyway, that's all I can say for Deadpool 2. I mean, I could say more, but I'd just be spoiling the jokes and the action set pieces and stuff. But
there is an uncredited cameo in this that not many people see. I don't even think it's obvious.
Oh.
Anyway,
Is it David Leitch himself?
No, it's Dakota Shepley. I want to say he's a footballer.
All right.
But he's Omega Red.
I don't even remember Omega Red really being in it.
There's the prison scene.
Yeah.
And he's somewhere in there. I've seen a picture of it.
But when you watch the film, it's like a blink and you miss it.
Kind of, yeah.
Right.
I don't know if there was supposed to be a part for him.
If there a chance as well that it's in the one cut, cause there's 2 different cuts of this film. There's like the regular R-rated cut and then a softer cut where the blood's taken out.
I can't remember, but I know he's...
Although I've only seen the one with the blood in.
I know he's in there somewhere.
Because the softer cut's got a different name where there's no blood or less blood. It's like Once Upon a Deadpool or something like that.
Yeah. Omega Red, he's like a Russian weapon project.
Yeah.
I just thought it was worth mentioning. Seems though there are quite a few X-Men characters and whatnot in there.
Yeah, Omega Red's really worth bringing up when we're about to discuss the next one, I think.
Are we moving on to that now?
Yeah, can do.
Yeah.
Like I said, got nothing bad to say about Deadpool, but I felt like if I was to keep talking, I'd just go into my favourite scenes and ruin it for them that haven't seen it.
Yeah. All right. Hulk vs. Wolverine from 2009.
What the hell happened?
Directed by Frank Poor and written by Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost. And it stars Fred Tatasciore as Hulk, Bryce Johnson as Bruce Banner, Steve Bloom as Wolverine/Logan, Nolan North is Deadpool, Mark Aitson is Sabretooth, Janice Jord is Lady Deathstrike, Colin Murdoch is Omega Red, Tom Kane is the Professor, and the synopsis is Logan is sent by the Canadian government to take care of the Hulk. However, they both get captured and must deal with a mysterious figure and his own mutant team. I do quite enjoy this.
Yeah.
It's a quick, 40-minute?
I was going to say, I think it was like 40, 42 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it was part of a double feature with Hulk versus Thor.
Yeah. And they both apparently serve as a prequel to the writer's later animated series, Wolverine the X-Men, which has an episode of Wolverine versus the Hulk.
Right.
And that's apparently like a sequel to this. And then their other animated series, The Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which obviously features Hulk and Thor.
Both short-lived, but worth watching.
Yeah, Wolverine the X-Men was great.
For a lot of people, Stephen Bloom's like a great Wolverine.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's okay. He does a lot of video game work anyway, and voice work in general. He's like many games.
Yeah, he's now doing Wolverine in a lot of them.
He was Wade Wilson for X-Men Origins Wolverine video game. Oh, he's Killer Croc in Batman Arkham City. And he was Anti-Venom in Spider-Man Edge of Time. But he does voice Wolverine a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is about this was, oh my God, I can't remember his name.
Scott McNeil.
Yes. He's like additional voices in this, or as like a small background character somewhere. And he voices Wolverine for the animated series X-Men Evolution, which I think was also Yost.
Yeah, that was also Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost. They pretty much worked on every animated project by Marvel.
Right.
Because it's X-Men Evolution where they get their start. They do the Ultimate Avengers animated movies, the Invincible Iron Man animated movie,
right,
the Doctor Strange animated movie, the Planet Hulk animated movie, as mentioned, Wolverine the X-Men, the Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes animated series, which I know you like, and the Iron Man Animated Adventures, and they did Thor Ragnarok as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So they kind of mirrored it.
They got into live action.
Yeah. Oh, and Yost did Thor the Dark World.
Right, okay.
And he also worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2003 series.
All right, cool. That's a good one.
Yeah. And they did a lot of the comic books for X-Men and some other stuff as well.
Right.
At Marvel. I know they primarily work at Marvel.
Yeah. But what I was going to say about Scott McDaniel is, to me...
Scott McNeil.
Scott McDaniel.
Nightwing artist.
Yes, thank you. Scott McNeil, he's like the definitive Wolverine voice for me. That's the one that I use when I read it.
Yeah, I'm same.
But no, this is quite a weird one because it's not so much Hulk versus as it is, here's a weird Task Force X team on a mission.
Yeah.
The Hulk versus Wolverine fight is very little.
Yeah. And is it Team X?
Well, it's an odd thing because Omega Red definitely shouldn't be there.
No. Lady Deathstrike shouldn't be there either. And Deadpool, not really.
No. Task Force X is normally...
Sabretooth, Maverick, or Agent Zero, Silver Fox.
And Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the odd little team that decided to band together in this and bring it into Wolverine's origin.
Yes, because the team itself, for me, is weirder than what they went with X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. Yeah, because they went for the Russian weapon project with Omega Red.
Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike, someone who takes revenge on Wolverine due to Weapon X project. Pretty good 40-minute animated movie.
Yeah, apparently Nolan North ad-libs a lot of, if not all of his lines on it.
I think he ad-libbed a few. I know they'd written a few and they said that he really elevated the dialogue.
Well, he's great as Deadpool, but I don't think this is the best place to see that.
No, I'd say the Deadpool game.
I was going to say the Deadpool video game, and I think an episode of Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, this was an episode or two of that, yeah.
I think that displays him a lot better as a voice actor for Deadpool.
Yeah.
I mean, that Deadpool game was pretty decent, but it was very PS2-ish.
Yeah.
That sort of era, more than the year it came out.
Yeah, it felt dated already, which was kind of fun, I guess.
I think they remastered it for this generation.
They
remastered the last gen.
Console 4.
Yeah.
That generation. The director of this, Frank Poor, he also did X-Men Evolution, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Planet Hulk, Doctor Strange animated movie, The Invincible Iron Man animated movie, We also did all of Todd McFarlane's Spawn animated series.
Oh wow, that was pretty decent back in the day. With get the names the right way around, Brian.
Keith David.
Yes.
Yeah. Frank Power also worked on Batman the Animated Series for a few episodes. And he directed parts of Mask of the Phantasm, apparently.
Right.
So I thought that was worth bringing.
Yeah, definitely. As a Batman fan I am.
Yeah.
I should have known that.
Yeah, you should have. There's not really much to say about this, I don't think.
I mean, it's just a breezy 40 minutes, and if you're excited to see Wolverine and or Deadpool, then it's maybe worth checking out, because I know it's on Disney+. Plus.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is.
I believe it is. I hope it is. It was on Netflix for a while, and you could watch either segment.
Yeah, and I know it was on Prime at one point.
It is a breezy 40-minute animated film.
Yeah.
You get parts of Wolverine's origin due to the Weapon X project.
Yeah, there's a tease for X-23. One of the specimens is a jar that had X-23 on it.
Yeah.
Because they created X-23.
Yeah.
As in not the character, but the writers of this film.
Yeah, Craig Cowell and Christopher Yost. Yeah, because they even bring her into the comic book.
Yeah.
With a slightly altered origin from X-Men Evolution, which is where she first appeared from. Yeah.
Which I think we mentioned when we did Logan last week.
Yeah. Any chance I get to bring up X-Men Evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it references their first meet between Hulk and Wolverine.
Well, it's supposed to be an adaptation of that, and they talk about how they were really pleased to be doing that story, and then I don't feel they then do that story.
They do parts of that story, then they bring it into the Weapon Project and all that sort of thing as well. So it's got a mix of quite a few things in that the comic book fans imagine. Well, for me,
there's a lot of famous comic covers put into the story.
Yeah, comic covers, comic artwork. They try and get quite a lot of that in there,
like referencing basically.
Yeah, I think the art style was not
passable.
Yeah, I think they could have gone better with it. They try and add a lot of personality to each character, which kind of works. But overall, to look at,
I think their designs say a lot about them, though. When you look at them, and that's kind of what you want.
Yeah,
especially as just a short, because you need to get as much information told as possible.
Yeah.
But I personally think it could have been bloodier.
Yeah.
It's just like PG, I think, isn't it? It's not because there's a scene where Deadpool actually gets an arm cut off.
Yeah.
And he reattaches it to heal, but there's like no blood or very little blood.
Yeah.
His costume seems to have healed as well. There's no cut lines in his costume, and that bothered me.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a little bit of attention to detail I would have preferred.
Yeah. And still a bit of humour, I guess, but it's not exactly.
Well, I've got no problem with him attaching his arm, but I don't think having the costume have no lines adds any humour at all.
I don't know.
To me, that's just poor attention to detail.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a fun 40-minute. If you just want to watch a good bit of 40-minute action stuff with characters, I think.
Yeah, it's
maybe you don't know.
It's maybe a good way of getting introduced to comics.
Yeah.
There's like a midway point.
Yeah, like I say, it simplifies a lot of the storylines from comic books. Kind of get all that in there. I kind of actually prefer the Wolverine versus Hulk episode from Wolverine the X-Men,
which they did as well.
Yeah, it's the same writer and references their first meet between Hulk and Wolverine as well.
Although it's not an official like canon to it, though, is it?
No,
it's just loosely, because I think Maverick's involved in that.
In what?
Wolverine and the X-Men episode.
No, he comes in later. So.
Oh, am I mixing two episodes up again?
Yeah.
Got to stop doing that.
Yeah, you are.
I know Wendigo's in it, right?
Yeah, he's the big villain of the Wolverine versus Hulk episode.
Yeah. Would you like to add anything more about the Professor?
It's a good voice cast. It's good. I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
I wouldn't have minded more of Bruce Banner.
Yeah, quite an interesting character on his own, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you need the Hulk part, all that interesting bit, but it's just a good, enjoyable thing to watch, I think. And I just thought it was worth mentioning with these films. Seems as though it's got Wolverine and Deadpool.
It's just something that you can maybe find on Disney Plus that you didn't know about to watch.
Yeah. Same year as X-Men Origins of Wolverine, so it's good that Wolverine and Deadpool were both in task force acting that year together.
Yeah. They look at a bottle of wine and it says 2009. Look at each and it's like, that was a good year.
Same series in both.
He's there too then as they open this bottle of wine.
It's not a terrible watch. Quick 40 minutes. Something to watch.
Plus, if Hulk is in Deadpool and Wolverine, like some people are speculating, it's maybe a good little hype for that.
Yeah. Just to see how it is when them two go toe to toe, because it is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Over the years in comic books, they've gone head to head quite a few times. They always like to get them at odds somehow.
Also, I'm not sure now, is this movie just set in the course of 4 hours? Because it opens with Hulk squaring off with Wolverine.
Right.
And then it goes 4 hours early, and it's Wolverine coming in for the mission.
Then yes, it's all in 4 hours. Wolverine gets captured, or they both get captured. Yeah, I guess quite a bit happens in them 4 hours.
Right.
4 hours in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Told it very quick.
That sounds like TV time or movie time, whatever you want to call it.
I haven't watched it in quite some time, so it was good to watch it again. Well, it was good to watch it again. But
this was my favourite of the two as well, I think, at the time.
Yeah, I think it is the better one, but I'm not really.
But I was going to say I'm not a big Thor fan.
No, me neither. I do prefer Wolverine. I prefer a lot of the X-Men stuff. X-Men's one of my favourite comic book things.
Yeah.
I'm bound to enjoy that one more. But then again, saying that, don't really enjoy many of the X-Men movies, do I?
How would you feel, though, if I just handed you this map? What? To get to the X on the map.
Sorry, I was a bit lost there.
I thought we could go on an adventure.
I see what you do.
I want to go find this X on the map.
Right, you're ready for an adventure?
Yeah.
I think I know what you're getting at. So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. And remember to join us again next week as we go on an adventure to unearth more hidden gems from cinema's depths, as we discuss Buckaroo Banzai, Baron Munchausen, and Ford Fairlane. And hopefully before that, bonus mini episode for Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's the X I want to go find.
Alright. Thank you for joining us this week.
Goodbye.
Mr. Fairlane, when I was 11, I walked in on my father and the Shetland pony he gave me for my 10th birthday. Does that excite you?
I don't know. I never met your father.